Good morning, everyone, and welcome to National Parents Union Live. I'm Keri Rodriguez.
And I'm Tim Langan.
What day is it, Tim?
It's Monday.
That's right. It's April 6th, 2020.
That's
It
right.
is Monday. For those of you playing along in the pandemic games at home, it is Monday.
We made it.
Yes,
through
we
another
made
weekend.
it through another weekend. An interesting weekend. We tried to get outside.
Yeah.
Try to get to the park. That was a little bit of a bust. The first park we went to was a little crowded.
Yeah, I got to tell you.
I've never seen before.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Keri, I was really surprised. Granted, we were out. I think there's the assumption that maybe everyone else is social distancing as well. I have never seen the park we went to so crowded. In all honesty, when I went out this weekend, you would never know there was a pandemic going on.
Yeah, we kind of hightailed it out of there. We saw so many folks.
Couldn't even get a parking spot.
Couldn't get a parking spot at the park. There was actually state police here in Massachusetts out at many parks, making sure that they didn't get overcrowded. Folks are just stir crazy. It's really hard to get through these long days, but we're glad that you're with us this morning. It is a beautiful Monday here in Boston, and finally a little bit of sunshine. These days have been extra long when you've got those rainy days.
Right, rainy and cold.
Cooped up. But here in Boston, we did get some additional advice and guidance from the mayor of Boston, telling us not even to head outside.
Not even take a walk anymore. Not take a walk anymore, and that there's a curfew between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m.
That's right. We've also started using our masks.
That's right.
The mask that we have.
That's right.
Little loops here.
Mine's over there, so I won't get it. But
like that. It's kind of interesting. These little masks, they're just really simple pattern, as I showed on the program on Friday. Just to kind of cut out a little piece of fabric there. No muss, no fuss, no sewing with this one. Looks like you could do this with literally just a glue gun here. Just kind of across that way. Good. Just a simple little pattern that way. But now getting the recommendation that we should keep this on, even for the kiddos. And that was a little bit of a...
that was tough. So it was Friday night. We went out for a walk and I broke up the kids' masks for Max and Dylan, who are 6 and 8. So of course they see masks and they think, woohoo, let's be ninjas. But we had to have a serious talk. And the talk was that these are not toys.
They're tools.
They're tools and you need them now. And
tools to keep you safe.
That's right, you safe, and most importantly, other people safe as well.
That's right.
So wherever we went for a walk this weekend, they wore those masks, whether they liked to or not. And I'm not gonna lie, the complaining slowly decreased from Friday night to yesterday afternoon.
It was a little tough because Dylan, who's 6, obviously his face is a little smaller, so the masks were kind of one size fits all, so they were kind of drooping down his nose a little bit. But he
kept it up.
He was a soldier and put it on and made sure that it was good. Right. And luckily, we did find kind of a hidden area that we could go for a little walk through the woods.
Right.
And we did see other folks who were actually out there using their masks, social distancing,
that's right.
Doing their best to kind of stay away.
Right.
But it was kind of shocking to see the mayor, at least of the city of the biggest city of our state, the capital of our state, Boston, just having to say to people, use your best judgment.
Right.
If you're walking in the supermarket and you have to be there, you should only be there if you have to be there. Stay to the right or stay to the left. Stay away from people. Don't be that guy. He literally said, don't be that guy walking down the center of the aisle.
Don't be the woman walking down the center of the aisle Friday with your mouth wide open, looking around the aisle, navigating through a lane of people trying to get the prescriptions at CVS. Don't be that woman. Or better yet, if you have a mask, put it over your face. Don't be the person with your mask hanging down from your neck. It defeats the purpose.
That's right.
It's not enough to wear the mask, you want to use it right.
That's right. Today is a special day. Today is our anniversary.
Oh, we're talking about that.
That's right, yes.
It's our 1-year anniversary.
Our anniversary coffee, which is, really special.
That's right.
We don't really get coffee anymore. We used to get coffee every day.
That's right, all the time.
And so we're kind of starting off the week with a little gratitude.
That's right.
This is, just getting drive-through coffee is like.
And going through drive-through coffee, I wore my mask.
That's right. So.
There you go.
Special day.
There you go.
Special coffee.
That's right.
Special guy.
That's right. Well, special you. Special woman.
Wow.
There you go.
Anyway,
there you go.
Lots to get to in the news today. As you you can imagine, we're still talking about what's happening
The
with
coronavirus.
to give you more updates, more information and news that you need. So what's happening? Tim?
Well, and a perfect example of maybe people are, they're stir crazy, they want to get out. And I'm sure you know that China has been under restrictions for months now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've lightened up those restrictions, which is good and bad because right now this happens to be a holiday weekend for them. So tens of thousands of Chinese are flocking every single tourist site, which doctors are saying, please don't. Please don't. But you know what? If you can't keep people from going to the Fellsway here in Massachusetts to walk their dogs,
Yeah.
what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? So I hear you. But please, guys, again, I'm gonna keep going back to stay inside.
That's right.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been hospitalized with the coronavirus as a precautionary measure.
Yeah, and we keep talking about what's it going to take? What's going to be the line of demarcation here that folks, finally accept that this is a very serious thing. Is it going to take, the serious illness of a superpower, world leader, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of England, now in the hospital? Hopefully, just for some testing.
Right.
Hopefully, he will come home.
Right.
But still, just scary to think about it. And also the Chancellor of Germany is also,
she's self-quarantining.
she is self-quarantining right now after her doctor was positive. So you just, again, this unfortunately, this virus does not discriminate. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are. But I do want to say this: we have seen this disproportionately impacting communities of color.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I mean, if you just take a look at the death rates, you take a look at.
You keep talking. I'm going to bring up some of the stats from our friend Nehemiah.
I mean, it is stunning. We've got to put it out there. Frankly, our communities of color are the ones that are our frontline workers. Many of them are healthcare workers. Many of them are essential worker. It feels like, they are the most essential workers. And unfortunately, again, disproportional impact of this virus on our communities of color. And so I'm hoping that this doesn't turn into, the blame game, saying that, people of color are not taking this seriously. Trust me, people of color are taking this very seriously. The problem is that many of us are out there doing those jobs,
right.
And really that is why we see our communities being impacted so directly.
So just to look at some stats here brought to us by Nehemiah Frank, who shared this on Facebook today, that for the deaths in the city of Chicago right now, there were 11% of them are white people have died, 19 white deaths, 14 Hispanic deaths, 6 Asian deaths, 113 deaths.
That's 68%
of people who are black.
Of the people who have died in Chicago are
black.
So if that doesn't show you the disproportionality of this and how it is really impacting communities of color for a myriad of reasons,
right.
A lack of communication, direct lines of communications with the communities, the fact that they are the frontline essential workers doing the most important jobs
right.
during this pandemic to keep everything going. Folks, we got to be there for everyone. We got to be there for our people.
Right.
Racism does not sleep just because the pandemic exists. So we've got to be on the lookout for this. We've got to be paying attention. We appreciate Nehemiah, part of the National Parents Council as a National Parents Union, making sure his voice and the voice of those who need to be heard in this moment are being heard.
That's right.
Frankly, what we're seeing right now across, all of the organizations of the National Parents Union, a disproportionality again in terms of who's being heard, what folks need, the folks that are actually doing things in the neighborhood. All this weekend, Massachusetts Parents United members have been out there delivering food, have been doing breakfast, lunch, trying to figure out how we can keep the kids busy by dropping off toys on different doorstops. You have Yahaira Lopez of Autism Sprinter, another incredible organization, a member of the National Parents Union, out there delivering fresh produce so people can stay healthy during this pandemic. It's the folks that are a part of this union that are out there doing this frontline work supporting families, and we've got to have their back. And the number one way that we can do that is by listening to what they need, bringing these folks to the table so they can speak truth to power, so they can tell the powers that be that actually have the resources what it is that families need. Too much guessing going on, not enough listening from people who are the closest to the pain. That's got to stop, and I'm going to be on it this week.
That's great.
Anything else in the news today?
That's it.
That's it. All right. Well, I'm way up on my soapbox today. I'm all fired up.
Yeah, you are. You seem taller today.
That's right. I may be 5 foot, almost 2 on the outside, but I'm 8 feet tall on the inside. You can write that down.
You tell yourself that.
That's right. Anyway, Mira Brown is joining us from Austin, Texas.
She's someone I'll listen to.
Yes, I will listen to her, and I'm anxious to listen to her. I want to see how her weekend went. Mira, not only are you with us, you're looking fabulous in our new Zoom technology. We're so happy to see you. Hopefully glitch-free now with this fancy new equipment we have. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. It's wider too. I feel like I can't hide the window anymore.
We can look out the window. I'm psyched.
We can see your brother and your nephew.
You're right.
I'm still hoping they stop by and say hello.
I'll tell them every morning they need to wear a red shirt and make an appearance.
That's right. That's right. So how was the weekend, Mira? We were anxious to check in with you. It was a little rough for us, trying to keep the boys busy.
Oh.
We did some book sorting. That was like kind of a last resort. Let's sort through all the books we have and decide which books we haven't read.
I'm not gonna lie, I might have forgotten almost all of your tips for at least a good 36 hours there, Mira. It was rough.
Yeah, take a break sometimes, even from the tips. Even the best tips need a break sometimes.
That's right.
Man. Yeah.
We were cleaning out to your point, like, the adage that like you take stuff away so that it becomes new again.
Yeah.
For kids. And so I was like looking around and I was like, we've got to take something away so it's new in a week or two. So we sort of we've done something similar last week as well, of taking away, like, not taking away, that sounds awful, but like, taking some books, putting them in the closet, bringing out some other stuff. And it's just amazing. I mean, little kids, short-term memories, right? Like, they're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yes, here you go.
Now, I got to tell you, my mother, when we were young, she used to take like half of our Christmas presents and go and put them in the closet. And then they would magically reappear in July. And we'd be like, oh my gosh, we have brand new toys, because we completely forgot all of these toys that we got for Christmas and didn't play with. So, maybe there's something to that.
It was cold for Austin. It was like 50 degrees on Saturday. That's cold for Austin. Sure. And rainy. And so it was like a double, and I am recognizing now that Saturdays I'm just like useless. I'm just, because I think we just go so hard during the week trying to keep it up, right? Keep the kids going, keep ourselves going, keep our jobs going, whatever it might be, help our families. And then I just crash on Saturday. And in the past, I've talked to you about sort of the tag system that Ben and I use, except on Saturday, we were both looking at each other and we're like, tag. Yeah. We're saying it. And we're like, uh-oh, this does not work when we both need to tag out at the same time.
Right, I hear
you. Man. We could rely on, I saw a great idea. One dad had, he was actually conducting an art class where he would lay on the couch and nap, and everyone sat in front of him and drew pictures.
Oh, that's a good one.
It was like, what do they call that? A study or whatever?
Sure.
So that's amazing.
Maybe that's it. Maybe this dad is onto something.
That's a good idea.
Dads know something every once in a while.
They do.
We were, by yesterday afternoon, we were on the couch kind of low, and we kept hearing like, Mommy, Daddy, Uncle Ben, and we were like, if they don't see us,
right. You're not there.
We don't move. They won't see us. It was good. I will say I think all of that sort of like pent up stress. I don't sew. I don't own a sewing machine. I'm honestly not going to take up sewing. I know myself. I know my strengths and my areas of growth. We have wonderful family members who have sewn masks, who are sending them our way. But I just like felt like I needed to, you ever that feeling where I was like, I need to do something to protect my family. Things feel out of control. I need to do something. Yeah. And I'd seen the CDC video and I was like, I can follow a video. I can follow instructions.
Yeah. So you actually went to the CDC website and there's a video up there on how to make
There is of the Surgeon General, and he like is holding, and I can give you my quick lessons learned on this. He's showing you how to make a homemade, essentially like cloth covering mask for those who like me who can't sew. And so he shows how you can either use like an old bandana or a t-shirt. And my thing is I tried a t-shirt, but unless you're going to cut it, it's too big and it feels like you have a cloth diaper on your face. And so I threw the t-shirt out and I was like, that doesn't work. And I found a old like burp cloth from that my sister-in-law had actually made. It was really cute. It has like a little teddy bear on it. And I was like, it's rectangular. I was like, this could work. And so you just take the pieces, you can sort of see it, and you fold it in half. And then you put these two pieces, together.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys. It's fairly simple. Of course, now that I'm live, I'm going to completely mess it up. And it just goes over your neck.
So what are you using as the elastics? What are those elastics?
Those are my hair ties.
Oh, that's amazing.
Put my hair up in a ponytail, hair tie. They say rubber bands, but that kind of hurts. Tried that too. And I just use simple hair ties that I pulled out of my drawer for my hair.
Around like that. And does it stay?
It does. I had to go pick up a prescription from CVS for myself and the kids, and it stayed. It was, I'm not gonna lie, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. Like
Gets the job done though.
But it gets the job done.
Yeah.
Like I'm safe. The kids are, and then of course, because I had to just be somewhat corny, I needed more. I put little prepared.
I love it. Brandon.
Nice.
Like glue painter's tape so as not to ruin what my sister-in-law made us 6 years ago. Anyway, point being, it is doable. You can make it. Highly recommend it. And it was like a little alone time. I was like, mommy's making a mask. She's busy right now.
Very busy. It's going to take at least 45 minutes, maybe. Maybe
That's right.
Don't bother me right now. Anyway.
an entire cup of tea. It's really intense. No, that's wonderful. And have you tried it with the kids? We were showing our masks that we just started wearing, these ones here, which
I
are
can't get my kids to put them on.
no.
Well, my 6-year-old has a lot of like sensory, and so that it's I actually thought he would like it, but because he generally likes sort of tight hugging, but it was too much. And my 2-year-old was really excited, and like I kept trying to, but he was just like moving away. So I was like, guess we're not going anywhere if you won't wear a mask.
2 and under is okay.
Right.
I don't know why that's okay.
I don't know why.
But, they say 2 and under is okay.
Just like
I never know if like those rules for airplanes, like you could, if you're over 75, you don't have to wear shoes through security. It's like, really? And so that's the same thing with like 2 and under. I'm like, really? So I don't know.
Well, we just got to do the best we can. We were walking in the woods, as we said earlier, and just trying to get used to a new life where if you're outside.
But you walk in the woods.
Yeah,
I'm not a big woods walker.
Yeah, we're not, we're city kids. So we're like, we had to go in.
I'm with you.
Because so that was.
Yeah, where are they?
Yeah, because that's the problem. Is like everyone is here in the city.
Yeah.
A little different. Like I know, Mary, you live out in the suburbs. It's a little different here. Like we're on top of each other. Like if we opened up this window, you would see another brick wall of a house. Like it's that close. And so it's like we're all on top of each other. So we hopped in the car to go to Sheepfold, which is like a nice area. And it was just, we had to turn around and get out of there. It was just,
that was like the other weekend. I was telling you guys, I was shocked. I was like, this is not a normal Sunday, people. Like go home or just step 6 feet. And they were just on top of each other.
Yeah, we got to take this seriously. Social distancing is the way that we're going to.
No more woods for us.
No more woods for us.
I did find a game, and I will get to the tip, I promise, but I did find a game that we played on Sunday when it finally dried out and it stopped raining. And it was neighborhood hide and seek. And so we called up, we were like in families, and the adults had their phone so they could text, and they'd say, we're hiding by the blue house under the big tree, or whatever, right, within a radius. And it was like a great way for kids to be together and keep their distance, because we never ever actually, like, the minute you found them, they'd run, and they'd, the next family would run and hide.
And
it was really fun.
This week, a great thing that's happening here in the Northeast, I'm not sure if it's happening in your area. You could actually start it if it's not, but the bear hunts that are going on. There are incredible Facebook groups happening where bears are appearing in windows just to kind of give you a little something to do.
Yeah.
Just like something,
I love it.
you hop in the car, you're safe, you're still social distancing, but you can still go out and have that adventure. Just a little something,
Right.
and it's the same concept. Are you guys doing that down in Austin?
I have not seen, I've seen it on Nextdoor, but I haven't seen any bears around my neighborhood. So I don't know if it happened and like I missed it or if it's happening, but I've definitely read about it, but not currently in my neighborhood.
Yeah, so literally folks just hopping in the car and going out and looking for bears in the
That's
windows.
great.
And there's a lot of people who are playing. Actually, in Medford, Massachusetts, which is not far from here, they have a whole map where you can go from place to place and look for the bears.
That's great.
Just to kind of keep kids,
That's
having
awesome.
at
Yeah.
least fun.
Yeah.
When Sky Zone and Legoland and
Not
the
going in
Museum
there.
of Science and everything else is closed, at
Yeah.
least you can have a little adventure. So that's good.
I love it.
What is our tip for the day? How are
Yeah.
we starting off this week? Week 4 of the
Or
great.
can you believe it?
The first month.
I can't believe it. 4 weeks. Can you
I
imagine?
can't believe it either. No,
This is incredible.
it is incredible. I woke up today and I was like, do I like weekends better now or Mondays? So I'm not sure.
No.
So I was thinking there was a couple of things over the weekend that sort of led me to today's tip, and they all sort of work together. So just give me a moment to sort of explain my thinking. There's always some thinking there. But I read from a colleague's wife. Her name is Jennifer Goldman Wetzler. Her husband's in education, and she's an author and just a phenomenal person. And she wrote about the challenge of remembering. And I was like really interested in that because she was saying like right now, right, we're all super appreciative and deeply appreciative of everything because we feel of what we've lost, right, what's different. But like everything else, like life will eventually return to normal, and you forget, right? So like, how do we keep that feeling of that sort of gratitude and like remembering? And I thought that was so interesting. I was like, gosh, that is like such a good point. And then the other thing was I was listening yesterday, and they were talking about how this is going to be like our Pearl Harbor this week, like just our Pearl Harbor this week, which is like
terrible. Yeah.
terrible, right? And so that just made me feel like, oh my gosh, like I need to focus even more. So if we've talked about this, if gratitude is sort of the opposite of that feeling, if gratitude is the feeling, the thing, the activity that allows us to sort of energize and heal, how do I do more of that this week with my kids if this is going to be our sort of Pearl Harbor? And then I was thinking about the fact that my husband last week was saying that he felt like our household and our kids and us, so that includes me, were becoming like too me-centric in sort of this time. And I'm telling you guys, I've been sort of thinking about that and sort of how to address that. I think that that's actually okay. Like, I think it's okay as we're trying to figure out how to cope and sort of live this new life, and we're all sort of fighting for me because we're humans and that's what we do. But there's got to be a way to sort of bring that up. What's the thing me and my kids can do this week when you think about it from all those different angles? And so I went back to, per the usual, because I have to, the learning science and the psychology. And I was like, there's got to be something in here late last night. And there's a couple of things, right? We've talked about the need to build the art, or sort of the need to reflect, that self-awareness that you build in yourself, and that vulnerability that actually allows you to grow. We talk about gratitude, and then diving into like projects, things that keep you busy, right? That keep your brain engaged. And then resilience, like one of the ways that you build resilience is you want to take pride in sort of how you've responded to something, right? How you've approached something. So here, all of that in mind, here's the tip of the day. So the final thing was someone was saying like, this is the story our kids are going to be telling their kids and grandkids. It's their living history. And I thought, wow, that is like such a good point. Like, this is going to be our story, right? Our generation story. So let's help our kids record their living history. And you can do this, you can make this big, you can make this small, you can do it however it makes sense to you. but keep a journal. Have your kids keep a journal. It could be handwritten, it could be typed, it could be on video, it could be multimedia, whatever makes sense to you. And have them record events, day-to-day, things that they did, feelings, fears, moments of gratitude, right? You can make some prompts and things like that, or just don't force it though. Like just let them record day to day. Have them do interviews with you or family members, right? We've talked about that in the past, of sort of bringing in other voices through COVID-19, and then store it somewhere. Put it away somewhere.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
That's right.
And like bring it back out. Like talk about a way to, one, the actual, again, like it's a forcing function for our kids to sit down and us to practice reflection and thinking about how they're feeling and what's going on and all these emotions and everything that's happening around them. The way to practice gratitude. And they're actually building some pretty interesting skills of like active listening, asking questions, like writing things down, all of that. And then it's a way to remember years down the road. And it could be a fun activity. It could fill some minutes of the day. And so tip of the day, I think I'm going to start that. My kid's 6, so this is definitely for older kids, but I think there's ways I can do this even with my younger.
It's really wonderful. It's a positive spin on things.
It is. I think back to other times in my life where I've done little time capsules, like things I wanted to remember. In 2008, I was working on the Obama campaign, and I was one of the folks leading the campaign in Ohio. And I was far from home, and I had spent a lot of time in Ohio. And I'm a Boston girl, didn't know a lot about Ohio, but it became home for me for several months, working on the Obama campaign. And throughout, it just felt like such a historic moment, a positive moment, but just such an incredible moment. And I didn't want to lose it. So I started collecting T-shirts for the campaign.
Oh, interesting.
When we marched in a parade, because actually Ohio, I didn't realize this has, I coming from Boston, I assume that everybody here is Irish, but there's a huge population of Irish folks in Youngstown, Ohio. They have one of the largest St. Patrick's Day parades, and we had Obama like special limited edition T-shirts made with the little apostrophe with the O. I had a voting sign that I stole from Cuyahoga County, like we're voting today. Just like these limited edition things that like Shepard Farley had made specifically for Ohio, and I put them in this little Rubbermaid container that's under my bed. And now every once in a while I open it up and I kind of peek in there, and it has like, I have like almost a catalog of little T-shirts
nice.
Yeah.
that I can look back on. And I'm hoping that the kids, because it was such a historic election, I'm kind of a geek when it comes to any kind of, political, like, tchotchkes. I love that stuff. Like the old pins. I love to go to the JFK library and look, they have an incredible collection there. But I have all of that stuff, and it's so nice to be able to like go back in time and just say, oh my gosh, I remember what a historic moment. And although this is a really painful moment in some ways, it's a positive moment in other ways, remembering the time that we shared together as, as families, the memories that we built, maybe the games that we played, the new way of life that we had to figure out really quickly, the things that we loved and learned about each other. This could be a really positive experience for our family. So I love this idea. I think it's great.
That's great.
Awesome.
I'm so happy. I mean, and again, make it to your point, right? You as a family, as kids, older kids can do this themselves. They can be very self-directed in this. Make it as big, as small, whatever is manageable for you. But I'm with you. Like I'm the opposite. I tend to be not like things, and then I regret it every time of either giving something away or not having remembered something, or something becomes a blur in your memory and and so I think this is a fun and good way to start off a Monday.
I love it.
I love it. I think this is fantastic. Mira, we're so happy, another week with you here on the National Parents Union Live broadcast. We love prepared parents. And we love your tips every day. We love your sunshine and your smile, and we get such wonderful feedback. People love you. So we're so happy that you're here with us on the broadcast.
Thank you so much. And just so you know, you're coming through very clear on Zoom. There's not been a single glitch.
It's beautiful.
So Zoom is the sponsor.
So today's broadcast, usually sponsored by Goya and a host of other folks, but today,
Zoom.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Donuts in
Dunkin' Donuts, how I miss you. I miss
Find
Dunkin' Donuts.
coffee, go to Dunkin's.
That's right.
There you go.
In the drive-thru with your mask on. And maybe
I love it.
Don't do it a lot.
No, hold the coffee like this.
That's
That's
right.
what I did.
I was gonna say, were you wearing gloves now?
No, I did this. I really did this though.
Yeah, he does do that. You do
Yeah.
a
Little thing. Thank you
Alright.
so much,
Mira,
Mira.
we'll
You're
see
making
you
my week
tomorrow.
easier.
See you
Thank
tomorrow.
so much.
Bye.
I love Mira from Prepared
That's
Parents.
right.
And it's funny, we're talking about, how folks are kind of, only going through the drive-through. Like this is a special occasion. This is my special occasion coffee.
That's right.
I was actually reading in the Boston Globe. Like this is where we've gotten to in terms of what the media is covering, by the way. There are folks making an event out of going to the drive-through. Like even though it can take up to an hour because folks aren't literally going into Starbucks. Here in Massachusetts, Starbucks is closed.
Starbucks is closed.
Yeah, we don't really do a lot of drive-throughs. It's even rare.
The only Starbucks iced coffee is probably in my pantry.
Yeah, but people are actually making an event to our daily outing today.
Ooh.
We're gonna go to the drive-through and we're gonna sit in the drive-through for a whole hour so we can have a cup of coffee. Talk about people slowing down and just taking it all. They're listening to a podcast.
That's right.
You
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh my goodness. So
That's good. I kind of like the slowing down thing.
I do.
We walked in the woods. I mean, as much as I'm not a nature person, I love that.
Yeah.
What else did we do this week? We did a play. My boys did a
we
play.
did.
I stopped for 15, 20 minutes. We did a play. What else did we do? Oh, we did
And I
some
was
drawing.
very excited.
You were a plunger girl.
I was plunger girl. I was one of the heroes in the play. And I was pit up against your dad,
That's right.
Papa, who was the villain.
That's right. What was your line again?
Stop in the name of.
Oh, come on, let's see it.
I can't remember it. Poor Max told me.
Mine was, you're going down the drain. Down the drain.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. It was great.
It was pretty funny.
It was great.
But a lot of creativity. We had never done a play before.
No.
Have you ever been in a play?
Not since fourth grade, maybe.
Oh my gosh. So there are wonderful positive things
Yeah.
happening. But the play was wonderful.
Yeah.
There were we're still working on a puzzle.
Yeah.
300 pieces.
So I took my kids from 350. I took them from 550 pieces to 350. They're a little bit mad at me, but it's okay. They'll get to it eventually.
That's right. But they're doing that with Papa.
They're
and
doing that with
they're
Papa?
making
Even better.
memories.
That's
they're
right.
making incredible memories.
That's right.
So it's wonderful.
Well, speaking of someone who makes great memories, so I got to tell the story. We're in New Orleans for the National Parents Union convening, and I'm seeing this very nice lady with her husband and her kid, and she's very concerned because she doesn't want the kid to disturb the whatever we're doing.
Because it's very serious.
Very serious stuff.
Very serious.
Very serious stuff. And I said to her, you know what? I said, do me a favor. There were some open seats here. Bring everyone to the convening tomorrow, right? And this kid, Houston, Dallas. There's too many between Austin, Houston, and Dallas. Dallas.
We love you, Texas.
He was the star of the show. And I mean, he was there for the prom, the parent prom, all in white. I mean, he stole the show. So let's bring on our next guest here, Crystal Williams here,
joining us live from Newark, New Jersey.
That's right,
and,
not from Texas.
That's right, not from Texas, but from Newark,
New Jersey.
And I'm really hoping that Dallas will make an appearance this morning. I did
Me
see
too.
him for a few
Me
minutes
too.
as we were getting ready for the broadcast, but I am really hoping that we'll be able to see him this morning.
Here we go.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Oh, you just want to unmute your mic.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're beautiful. Look at that smile.
Thank you so much.
Love it. One of our delegates to the National Parents Union. Where's Dallas? Where's Dallas?
Is right.
Dallas. Look at that guy. That guy was the prom king.
That's right. He's getting so big. Look at that beautiful boy. Hi. Oh my
Want to run or what?
God. Now, Crystal, we love Dallas. You're actually among us 7, are you not?
7, yes. That's
Yes. How old are
They are 21, 15, 14,
they?
11. I have 7. That's Memphis.
Hi, Memphis.
3.
Hi.
Memphis, Memphis, Memphis.
Look at those.
3 and 1.
So you are a mama warrior. You
I'm
are a
busy.
mama warrior. You are busy. And let me
And
tell
40 and 41.
I'm 40 and 41 at the same time.
my goodness. And
All right, go.
they're going to put you on blast. They are putting you on blast this morning. But,
Yes, they are.
you know,
You see, my reach is like elastic, man. I'm about to.
you know what? And I got to tell you, I'm a mom of 3 and I thought I had it. But when I watch you and how you handle, like, you are unshakable. You're like, I've seen this all before. I've handled it all before. What do you got for me? What do you got for me, world? I am ready.
The 14-year-old, he couldn't resist.
I love it. But you are also an extraordinary parent leader, organizer. You've got 5 kids who are attending Uncommon Schools, North Star Academy in Newark. You have, been before the New Jersey State Board of Education, fighting for all kinds of issues on behalf of children and families and just improving the quality of education in New Jersey. I'm so excited to see you too, because you, no matter what, you always have this positive spirit. So tell us what's happening in Newark. How are you doing? How's the fam?
I am, well, okay. So I have a balcony, which is great. So I can get some fresh air every now and then. We have 2 floors, so we're not too close to each other, but it is a 3-bedroom with 6 children and me. So every now and then I have to take them out for a quick ride in the car. We just go straight up the street and back down. And then that just gives them like some sense of being normal, right? The trip up to their school. The older kids are in the online learning. Memphis is in like Classroom Dojo and Epic, and I really have to commend my children's school because they were on top of it from day one. So my 2 children in high school came home with Chromebooks, not knowing how long this was going to be, not knowing what this was going to turn into. They were already set up.
Yeah.
But Memphis, his elementary school sent them home with a packet. And when they realized it was going to be longer than everyone thought, a teacher came by the house and dropped off a Chromebook. And I mean, like that kind of dedication, you don't just, find anywhere. So even in times where we seem to be, unprepared or it's unexpected, they still are on top of it. And I really appreciate that.
You would give Uncommon high marks for how they've been handling it.
Absolutely. I get text messages and calls from the teachers. My fourth child, they go by numbers now, but Nicholas, he was getting a little down. He hadn't been out the house for, I want to say, since like the 17th of March. So yesterday we had a date. And I took him up to South Orange. We got Cold Stone ice cream. We parked the car, and it was like a ghost town. So we walked up the block and we walked back down. But then as we were driving back down, which is a town that borders Newark, the parks were open and you could walk around. I didn't even know that the parks were open in certain towns. So it's really sad to me, like, the statistics that you gave earlier, when you just think about high rises, getting on elevators with people, you really don't see that in those towns. So in Clark, I'm driving through Clark to get to Rawway to my mom's house. The parks are open. Kids are playing on the basketball court. And this is not what you see in Newark, So the shelter in place, I guess, is for certain towns. And we used to have Weekway Park to walk around, but they set that up as a testing site and they closed down all the parks. But some parks in certain towns are open.
So, Chris, tell me about how you feel about this, okay? Because we've already talked about how COVID-19 right now is disproportionately impacting communities. Those most important essential jobs. And then in the communities where, people of color live, you're seeing more restrictive, really lockdowns and whatnot. It's just like, the inequity about it, the humanity about it is just, it's so off balance in this moment. How do you see it from where you sit? I can hear it in your voice, but I don't want to speak for you.
Well, like I have 7 children. So imagine before this even happened, there were several cases, women, after they gave birth in hospitals, trying to let their doctors know, listen, something is not right. I know something is wrong with my body. And these African-American women and women of color are passing away while still in the hospital because nobody took their cares and concerns seriously. So now we wonder why African-Americans and people of color are going to the hospitals later, because there's that underlying distrust. These doctors don't look like me, so they don't care about me. Then you see on Facebook nurses saying, I did not get into this industry to pick and choose who gets a ventilator, to pick and choose whose life we get to save, to pick and choose who goes home to die versus who we will roll out the red carpet for to bring in to make them comfortable. So when people hear things like that, then it's like, well, I would rather be home because I know the people around me love me, as opposed to going into this hospital, giving up my cell phone, not being able to say goodbye to anybody, and having somebody determine my quality of care. And then on top of that, the poverty issue, like, you know, if you don't have a car, then you are stuck to your surrounding neighborhood. Or then if you live in a high rise, all you can do is open the window. You know what I mean? As soon as you walk out your doorway and you get on that elevator, you are now susceptible to whoever gets on that elevator with you. That's where I grew up in the Bronx, in Patterson Projects in the South Bronx. My grandmother lives on the 10th floor. Could you imagine holding your breath all the way up to the 10th floor? We got her, picked her up and took her down to my uncle's house in Woodbridge because she needs to be protected even from us, but she can't be out there. You know, this turned into way more than 2 weeks, you know, so.
And outside of that, I mean, even if you can keep yourself protected, like you're holding your breath in the elevator, you're trying to do the best that you can, like the fact that you're cooped up in the house, you know, whether or not you have the money to be cooped up in the house and have the luxury not to leave the house, not to go out and work. And if you are working, at least having the money to go out and get some food. Like there are folks that, you know, right now are, you know, living in just awful situations where they're not having the access to go out, because not everybody can have a stockpile. Not everybody can go out and go grocery shopping. They don't have the money to go out for 3 weeks of food shopping.
Absolutely.
And as you said before, and I want to underline this for everybody who's watching, and thankfully, you know, this broadcast, we're going to reach a million people this week with the National Parents Union. I want people to understand this. Racism does not rest just because we are in the middle of a pandemic. And
that's
what
right.
Crystal was saying, I want everybody to understand, you know, folks do not necessarily trust the information that is coming, will not trust our healthcare system because they have been the victims of racism in the past. And that is something that we have to confront, we have to recognize, and we have to problem solve to overcome. You need to send the right ambassadors with the information, folks that people can trust, to make sure this information gets down to folks, that they know what to do and know that they can go to the hospital and they should go to the hospital. So these things you're talking about, Crystal, are real. This is real life. America did not suddenly change overnight just because we have a pandemic.
That's right. That's right. We all have to.
Yeah, I mean, you're so connected with parents, with families, like regardless, you're still having these conversations. You still know what's happening in the community, what's happening across the world. Talk to us right now. Like, what are families saying to you? How are they getting by, and what is it like?
Well, and this is one thing. When I was on strike with my company, this was years back, I was a waitress at Red Lobster. I'm thinking, like, what are they doing right now? Because while you can go and you can get these emails from Fridays about, oh, we'll do Carside to go, but what about the people who earn their living making tips? These stores that had to close because no one was, you know, frequenting them, because now we're all working from home, so no one is eating out. When I go in the ShopRite and I make my morning run at 7 a.m., I'm just so grateful that people showed up to work and that they come there with a positive attitude and a smile on their face. It's really rough. Like, I have the luxury to work at home. Everybody doesn't have that. But, you know, I asked, like, I was in ShopRite and I saw Miss Carol and we worked together closely. with the school, and I just fell on her. Like, it was like so long since I had a hug from just a regular, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And she was like, no, baby. I was like, Miss Carol, I miss people. Like, you know, we were talking about like social distancing and children, and how like they're always in their phones and their gadgets, and they don't look up, they don't make eye contact, they don't smile, they don't know how to greet people. And now it's like the norm. And it's odd. It's like, wow, I'm not supposed to say hi. Or if I say hi, I'm offending you because I'm not supposed to talk to you. So it's kind of sad. I still do. I used to go to therapy on Thursdays. Well, now my psychologist has doxy me. So I have therapy every Wednesday.
I go every other Thursday. I had my therapy on the phone. I'm going to have a Zoom therapy call. Girl, keep up your therapy.
Yes. And look, don't you like, they still got that credit card machine for that copay.
They do. Yes, they do. They'll take my money.
They sure will.
I need that therapy. And so do we. Mama's doing this work. But so Crystal, just before we go, you know, this is you know, unprecedented what we're seeing right now. And I hope we can check in with you again just to see how things are going. If you can get through with 7 kids, you know, I don't want to hear anybody else. My goodness. You know, in your house, you know, where is learning in terms of like, are you guys just trying to make it through the day without killing each other? Like, just real talk. Like, how is that piece of it going?
Okay, so Autumn and Jason are the older kids. They have a set schedule, so they are strictly 8 to 2. And there's no room for movement with that. But with Memphis, he's able to log in and to watch videos from his teachers, do his work packet, read his book at any time. So guess what? He's been demoted to night school. Like,
Hi,
I hope he can go back to daytime learning because he's used to learning from 6 to 9 p.m.
Because that's what works for him, right?
Listen, and really you have to be flexible, and you have to be fluid. And I think that's the only thing that's made me successful with so many children is the ability to say, you know what, I might not like it, but this is what it is. And as long as they keep that attitude with not being so rigid, and even just with like the school and new teachers and oh well, we can't learn this way, so now we're gonna have to come up with a new playbook, and the administration being on it real fast, squashing every parent's concern. Like, listen, if you have a question, call me, and as soon as you call me, I'm gonna help you through it. So I think knowing that the partnership is there and that it's strong is what makes this more manageable than anything else.
It's wonderful to hear that Uncommon is really providing that, because I feel like what is lacking, and my kids go to a traditional district school, what is lacking is that continuity. Yeah. I have 3 kids, 3 different teachers. My oldest actually has specialists because he's a child with special needs. So I'm hearing different things from all 3 teachers, even different technology platforms, different expectations, different logins for different tools. Like trying to manage that and keep track of it, let alone keep them engaged, is really tough. And frankly, I didn't hear a lot from them for the first 2 weeks. So we just had to kind of figure out what our schedule is. And now all of a sudden I'm getting an avalanche of information, which is kind of disruptive. And like they're asking me to change what we're doing, which is a little bit hard. We tried a little bit last week, but we're taking what we can from what they're offering. But we're also trying to survive as a family. And
right.
That's critically important. Understanding that like the most important thing that happens right now is that we as families maintain the love and relationship. We do not destroy the fabric of our families, because after this, we're going to have to survive with each other too.
That's right. We all we got.
That's it. We're all we got, and we've got to make sure we take what we learn from other parents, and we share with each other. So Chris,
right.
Thank you so much for being with us. Come back with us again. I miss your beautiful smile. I know we're going to do extraordinary work together. We are, just by being in a community with each other. Give my baby lots of hugs and kisses. I love you, Dallas.
I sure will. Oh my goodness.
That baby in my arms. He felt so good. I love you, Dallas. He's such a good boy.
And he just took off. Like,
As he should. As he should. All right. Thank you so much for being with us. Crystal joining us from Newark, New Jersey. One of our favorites.
bye-bye.
We have so many favorites. Oh, bye, Dallas. We'll see you, honey.
Bye, dear.
Joining us live from Newark. Thank you so much for being with us. Our next guest is also one of our favorites as well. We are so blessed, to have so many folks from across the country joining the National Parents Union, checking in with us. Just so we can check in on communities across the country, figure out if they've got something figured out. Maybe we can share some information, just checking in with folks to make sure we're all surviving this mess the best way we can. And our organizations in the National Parents Union really on the front lines connecting with families. And Ariel Smith is with us, joining us from Denver, Colorado, from Transform Education Now. Ariel, it's so nice to see you. How are you?
Thank you. Hi, Carrie. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm, great.
We love Ted.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're excited to be here. It's Monday. School starts this week. Remote learning starts this week here in Denver. And so we work with families across the Denver metro area and have been supporting families in preparing for this remote learning. So it's a busy Monday because parents are ready to go. They're excited, I think, to start having some more structure. It was a 3-week spring break for our families in Denver, which is a long time without routines. I am a mom, I can tell you, kids will eat you alive if you don't have routines. And so,
how are you doing just in life? How is your family running? Let's be real talk here. How are you doing as a mama?
I have a 4-year-old, and I think I have a parenting hack that's worth noting from this weekend.
Oh, cool.
And it's stuffed animals can also be real friends. So we had like a whole classroom of like a teddy bear classroom this weekend. Because I have an only child. So it's like, he doesn't have anybody else to play with when his parents are busy, which is something that is challenging. And so I figured out that bears count too as people. So yeah, it was
bears count as people and stuffed animals, period. With a shout out to JoJo in this house, who is like a real member of the family, and Kitty, and who else do we have? We have Fred. We have so many friends in this house. So thank goodness for them also being playmates. We're relying on them, and imaginary friends too. We've got imaginary friends going on here. It's wonderful, but you gotta be creative in this moment. But you guys are making it through. I mean, it's hard to work and be the mom of a 4-year-old. I mean, Crystal has 7 kids. She's like a superwoman, but I gotta tell you, even the mom of 1, like, it's hard to concentrate. I mean, sometimes I have 3. I can't even get I say to them all the time, can mommy write a complete sentence? Just one sentence. Let me write one sentence. And it can be tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's real. I think I have been we've talked a lot about giving ourselves grace during this time with the parents that we work with. And I think that also, for myself, like, I've really been trying to, if we don't have a schedule where my son is learning from 9 to whatever, like, that's okay, because I'm on call, like, I'm busy, I'm working. And so, sometimes from 4 to 6, that's the time where we'll really spend some like deep time learning. Like, I've made my schedule work as moms across the country are doing right now, right? Like, for me, it was so funny. I was writing a letter to my team yesterday. I would do like a Sunday letter thing. And I wrote, this is the longest I've ever spent with my son, because maternity leave is so short in the United States that for working moms across the country, this is actually probably one of the longest periods of time they've ever spent with their children.
It's crazy when you think about that, isn't it? And
yeah.
Like, this is such a transformative moment. So let's take it back to the families in Denver and the folks that you're working with. We have kind of been in survival mode this past 3 weeks, and now there's the introduction of remote learning and schedules and whatnot. Talk to me about the expectations, because that is something I'm really concerned about. homes are not classrooms and parents are not teachers. We're just doing the best that we can. So how is Denver approaching that? I mean, are they approaching this with humanity, with love, with some compassion, saying like, this is suggested, do the best you can? Or is the expectation like, this is it, if your child's in school, like this is what you're running through? Like, how are you handling that? And how are parents reacting to that?
So I think that the first thing is all of this has to be trauma informed, right? Like this is a traumatic moment in society and our kids are feeling that. And so making sure that these spaces of remote learning are spaces that are supportive of students and spaces where kids are checked in on, right? DSST, which is one of our public charter networks here in Denver, has a program where they have 12 kids in a learning advisory group and they're checking in with them every single day. And those first 30 minutes of their day, every day are moments where they're checking in on their health and their wellness during this really, really stressful time, and giving them space to socialize with their peers. It's a high school. High schoolers need spaces that are safe to socialize with each other through this. So anyway, I think that that's the first thing that we really are looking for in terms of like a quality environment and remote learning is your school giving space that's like a small community where they're checking in regularly. In Denver, we had the superintendent on one of our parent meeting calls last week, and she said that parents should hear from their teachers every single day. And so I think that one of the interesting things about this moment is this is a time where we are going to see more communication than we've ever seen before between teachers and parents, which I think is a really interesting and potentially really transformational step in how we can go back in August.
It can be interesting, but it can also be overwhelming at the same time. And just from my own perspective as a parent, you know, sometimes like I have multiple children. I have 3 kids. They have 3 different teachers. My oldest is a child with special needs that has multiple specialists. The teachers check in during different times during the day. So it kind of feels like an overwhelming bombardment of information and check-ins. I mean, at one point, you know, my 2 youngest, the school was trying to set up Google Gmail accounts so they could access Google Classroom. So if I didn't want that, I had to opt out. My oldest, who's in middle school, had another, you know, they were trying to set up a Gmail account for him. I had to opt in. I had like somehow, like because of the flurry of information, and you know, I'm getting emails from both of my youngest, you know, teachers plus this. So I had lost that the difference between the opt-in and the opt-out, and then suddenly I'm getting these letters like, well, you haven't opted into him getting an email, and then I'm like, well, hold on, he already has a Gmail. Can't he just use? It's a sensory overload for parents. So do you have any advice, like? How do we take this on in bite size? Because I was overwhelmed. I was ready to chuck my laptop out the window and say, like, you know what? I'm going to do this my own way because you guys are way too much for me. And I'm not in a good space where I can even present this to my children, who my youngest are in 1st and 2nd grade. They need me to access this stuff. I was just not in the place where I could do it. And sorry, but that's just real talk. So how do we break this down into bite-sized pieces so it's not overwhelming?
Yes. I felt that because this weekend so we have led trainings on all of these different technology platforms for parents. We do 3 different digital meetings a week, and one of those is a training around technology use and like the different tools. And so we led a training on using the Libby app. Libby is one of the apps that you can use to download library books. And they also are audiobooks, so they can read themselves to your kids. Another hot tip there. So this weekend I go on, I've already led like a full training for families. I go on this Libby app and I am like pacing. I could not figure it out for like 40 minutes. And I was so stressed out. It was like, I was so frustrated. And I think that was one of those like moments where it was like, it's going to be okay. We're going to get organized, but it's going to take time. Like, again, I think going back to like your routine is going to take time to build. And there's grace in that. Right. And so I think being patient with yourself, like I got the app downloaded, I went to check out the books, and then I just put my library number on our Slack channel for 10 parents so that they don't have to go and get a library card themselves. They can just use ours. So I hopefully avoided stress by sort of like testing it out. And then, we're going to continue to host trainings. We have people making phone calls to parents to help them build those routines and talk through a lot of other things. We also have a food program where we're helping families.
So the last question I want to ask you, like, we are putting so much on the internet and online, but digital literacy problems are huge. I mean, you're talking about trainings. I mean, we have districts and folks, I mean, you're talking about Denver. I mean, this is an urban district we're talking about here. The digital divide is real. We're talking about parents that have regular literacy issues, let alone digital literacy issues. We're whipping Chromebooks and hotspots at folks. And it's wonderful if you can first get it into the hands of parents, but then if they know how to utilize it, those phone calls, making that connection. To me, it's one of the simplest things. It's infrastructure that's existing. How important is that to getting this off the ground too?
I think really important for a couple of reasons. I think this is a really isolating moment for families. And so having somebody that's checking in and just saying like, how are you? Like, parents are stressed out right now, and that's okay. And like having somebody call and check in is an important part of building community. And we have a strong community, so we should lean into that. And I think in terms of teaching folks how to use technology platforms, like it's so important, and it's really challenging. And so again, like it's patience and then going over it again and again. We have a Slack channel that we've built for families where we put all of our like hot tips and tricks about different things. We have like a special education channel. We have a gifted and talented channel. We have it in different languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Vietnamese, Swahili, and Arabic. And
love it.
Yeah, so we're trying really hard to build these like spaces for community to like really interact with each other, so that when someone doesn't know how to use Libby, there's another person, another mom who like figured it out and has a trick. And so I think that that's the other part of it, is like it's a phone call, but it's also like establishing moments of connectivity.
I love it. I love it. And that's kind of like one of the founding principles of the National Parents Union too. We love hearing the fact that, moms are sharing with moms. You guys are using Slack. Thank goodness the Transform Education Now 10, as we call you, is available to families in Denver so that they can get it. So Ariel, how do folks get a hold of you? Folks in Denver should know you, but maybe there's some folks watching today that haven't been connected to you. How can they get involved?
Thank you. So you can visit our website to access any of the resources that I talked about and the Slack channel. Our website is transformeducationnow.org. And you should follow us on Facebook. Our Facebook is at 10_Colorado, TEN_Colorado.
Wonderful. We're going to put that up on our Facebook page today and promote it. This broadcast getting out to hundreds of thousands. So hopefully tons of folks in Colorado as well. And you know what, Ariel, there's so much more I want to ask you, especially like kind of, heralding back to your earlier career and your expertise in criminal justice reform. We're going to have a conversation about parents who are formerly incarcerated, some parents that are incarcerated who are really struggling in this moment. There's a lot of fear and whatnot. So I hope that, maybe we could tap your brain, get you as a guest to kind of, as we have that conversation with some of our parents that are struggling to connect and are feeling, disenfranchised from the system on a great day, let alone during a crisis. Maybe get some of your expertise there, but so much that we'd love to talk to you about. Again, I hope you'll come back with us.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
Ariel Smith joining us from 10 in Colorado. That's Transform Education Now. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I'm just so happy that we have such a wonderful, vibrant community in Denver.
Great guests today too.
Folks connecting, yes.
Yep.
Happy smiling faces. That's how we
That's
work.
right. So we need
Monday.
today.
And we're just so excited that folks have been joining us. We love the new technology too.
That's
It's
great.
been
Not a single
fantastic.
glitch.
Not a single glitch this morning. Thank you,
That's right.
Zoom.
Three more shows to go.
That's right. So you can watch the National Parents Union. If you miss this broadcast, you can watch it all day long. Share it with your friends. But you can also watch our program, which comes up in Spanish at noontime.
At noontime, we have
Today,
Christina.
Judith is your host, so we're
That's
excited.
right. Don't forget, Christina Laster is going to be on at 2 p.m.
So our families with extraordinary kids, our families with children with special needs, special conversation that happens every day at 2 p.m. And then at 9 o'clock with
Marisol
Marisol
Arusha.
to restore our hearts.
That's
These days
right.
are long and they can be difficult, also joyful, but how do we recenter ourselves? Make sure that we're kind of ending the day in a place where we feel hopeful. And who better to do that than our
Than Marisol, that's right.
Marisol. And don't forget Thursdays,
Dad to Dad
Dad Talk,
with Tim, Jose, and John.
and,
That's
and,
right.
and more hosts joining
And
every
more
day.
hosts every day. Who
It's-
knows how many dads are going to be on?
That's right. But we love it. It's
That's right. We have lots to say. We got a lot of good feedback. And if you have feedback, tips for guests or topics, please send them to info@npunion.org. That's info@npunion.org.
Thank you so much for being with us. It is Monday, April 6th, 2020. We'll join you again tomorrow.
That's
Thanks for
right.
being with us on the
Have a
National
nice day.
Parents Union live broadcast. See you tomorrow.
Take care.